This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland. Hello and welcome to Swiss and Chips. I'm Jo Faye.
And I am Simon Sweet.
So in our past few episodes, we've spoken a lot about what the British people, or to be more specific, me as a British person, thinks about Switzerland. So we thought we might turn the tables in this episode.
First of all, you call 2 episodes the last few. Is that a normal thing to say in English, or is that...
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's a few. It's a couple, we could say.
Yeah, exactly.
One couple. Yeah, I would like to tell you more what what Swiss think about British people or the Brits in general. But obviously, first of all, I have to say it's one opinion, my opinion and my view. It's surely not everyone sees the same, so...
And as it happens, we were in England last week, so we got a bit of a chance to kind of think about these sort of preconceptions or ideas that we have about British people.
Yeah, totally true, yeah. So, let's just dive into it. I feel a little bit like in an interview, I have to say, with our setup with only one microphone at the moment. So, yeah, I feel quite exclusive.
It also means that I can't interrupt you so much because I have to wait until I move the microphone back to me. But, we're trying out different things here. I think it's a good exercise.
So we can say win-win, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's dive into it. What do you want to know?
Good question. I think the thing is, when you read about British people outside of their own country, you're often reading a lot of negative stuff, mainly depending on the weather, might I say. In summer, we get a lot of negative press. I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah, I mean, we have been there. Most of the people we have seen were ill, becoming ill, or have been ill. And yeah, it was raining quite heavily, snowing, was cold as ice. And I would say that's a summary of the British weather, no?
Yeah, it's true. I read in, books or magazines or heard from people who'd been to visit England or Britain before that it was always extremely cold there. And, they said, don't you people have heating? And why is it always so freezing cold in your houses? And before I moved away, I thought, what are they talking about? But since we've been back, we've kind of really lived that, haven't we?
Yeah, the thing is, it is in Switzerland as well cold, but, it's a different cold. Here, if it's winter, it's cold and snowing, so you get a winter jacket and stuff. If you go to England, it's more like raining and always quite windy, so the cold feels even colder than in Switzerland, I would say. But yeah, the weather is not extremely different to Switzerland, I think. It's especially where we live in Bern, so we have also quite a few rainy days, so it's not only in Britain, but obviously sometimes it rains.
And I'd like to say at this point, but doesn't the sort of warm, welcoming attitude of the people kind of warm your heart so much that the weather doesn't matter? However, just before I throw that difficult question at you, we all know that British people have a bit of a reputation for being slightly standoffish or a bit cold.
I wouldn't say they are cold. They're just, I would say, they have a little bit of distance, so, but yeah, they're still very friendly. I think it's also they're very traditional and try to have kind of a high standard or high quality to themselves, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I think what we might be getting at here is the kind of British stiff upper lip. Whatever happens, this is a kind of term we have for whatever happens, don't let your standards down. Don't let your guard down. Everything can be falling apart, but you'll say, oh, jolly good, let's continue as if nothing has happened.
Yeah, I think that's what Swiss think about the British. It's like this James Bond thing that you are, even in the deadliest situation, you are kind of try to stay like a nice gentleman in a nice jacket and having a drink and, open the women the door when they come in and stuff like that. So, yeah.
We saw this video, I think it was a few weeks ago, that was kind of doing the rounds where they say it's like the most British car accident ever or something. And basically someone kind of spins across the road, the car is turning over and over. And then someone sort of gets out and says, oh, that could have been worse or something like that. And that kind of sums it up for me a bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally true. Like, don't show emotion is basically the key word. So, and always stay, how do you say, like,
On a kind of even kilt.
yeah, exactly.
Even kilter. I don't even know what the
yeah.
word is.
And, always have this, like being the queen. If you walk through the streets, you must have your head up and, just be proud and like a gentleman's, I think.
And obviously that also applies to women as well. We're talking about the queen, we're talking about gentlemen, this kind of approach.
Yeah, totally. It's for both the same. I don't see any difference there, no.
Okay, so we've got a couple of positive things that we've kind of noticed about the British people so far. But I think there's, it's a kind of very traditional country in many ways. There's lots of things that have a very long history.
Yeah, I think that builds the bridge from this being a gentleman and so on. I think it's, I think about the British people. They are, they like their own traditions. They are on their own island and they want to be better than not than others, but they just want to be the best of themselves. And like their nice cars and stuff, they don't need to go on the fast and super strong and super nice cutted cars and carved. You know what I mean? Not this brand new sports cars. They have classic cars and classic colors and classic suits and all these things. I think these traditions, which you could say in many ways it can also be negative, but because you hold on what you were and you're not looking forward to the future. But in other ways, I have to say it's this tradition in a positive way. It's like hold on nice traditions.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know what I mean. It's
I think so.
Explain.
It's kind of like when we think about like Tokyo or Japan, for example, we think, gosh, they have everything so modern and so cool. That's like the future happening right now in Tokyo, for example. But when you think of Britain, you think, there are long-standing things there that people are very interested in, or, people are driving around in classic cars that maybe don't really work so well anymore and can't really go that fast, but they look great and we love them for that.
Yeah, and I think a good example is for example, Sherlock. The series. Yep. Then you have the British series Sherlock, and you have the American comparison. It's Elementary. It's so you see the British is very tradition, and he always tries to be, a gentleman and nice and intelligent and stuff. And the American version is more like stronger and makes push-ups in the mornings and stuff like that, more sporty. And I just think that's kind of the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I think Sherlock and Elementary is a very good comparison. And another thing, I think the British are kind of loved for the world over. This is something that is always on our side, thank goodness. It's the British accent.
People love it. It's true. What more can I say? I think if you hear someone with the BBC English, then you just think, oh, that sounds nice. It's just the where English was born, it sounds like.
I mean, of course, we love our American friends too. But, there's something kind of special, I think, about the British accent in a way. I don't know, I mean, I've always had a British accent, obviously, to some degree. It changes a little bit when you move away. But, people hear it and people really have a thing about British accents, I think, which is nice.
Yeah, what can I say? It's true. Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of great things about Britain. Obviously, we can't go into them all now because that would take hours, maybe even days to record that podcast in that case. So let's move on to a few of the points about the Brits that are, where we have room for improvement, we might say.
I think if you would ask someone in Switzerland, what do you think about the British, if it's not a positive thing, then it's probably beside the weather, which we already talked about a little bit. And I think that we don't need to cover anymore, because it's, on one hand, it's quite similar to Switzerland with also quite a few rainy days, but in Britain it's just maybe compared to Switzerland the weather changes quite fast. So if we were in London, sometimes it was at 9 it was raining heavily, and then at 10 it was sunshine, 11 2 meters of snow, and 10 12 it was again sunshine. So
Exactly.
and always cold wind. I think that sums it up.
Yeah, we
always
can agree
cold
on that.
wind. So yeah, but beside that, food is always a topic, I think. So yeah, the Brits are famous for rubbish food, I would say.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I think, you can ask whoever you want. No one really likes bean in the morning or sausage for breakfast. I don't know. That's just weird.
Well, apart from British people.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Do they? So how often did you eat the bloody thing?
Oh, what's it called? What's that sausage called now? Black pudding.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, I normally abstain from that, to be honest. But it's true. We don't really have a reputation for having, A, our own food. People say, what is British food, apart from fish and chips? And B, if we do have our own food, people say, ugh, British are rubbish at cooking. Which I think, after a few visits, you might have something to say about that.
yeah, you can, for example, buy Swiss chocolate there. That's very good. No, I mean, obviously, you also have very nice food. All the food you find in Marks and Spencer, for example, is quite good, I have to say.
Agreed.
Yeah. But in general, I think it's not a country you go to just to eat nice food, which you might go to Italy or France or something where you think, oh, I go there and have a nice pizza or something. Yeah. It's not really what you expect from England, I think.
And the thing is, in Britain, I think we've kind of quietly acknowledged that. And what we like to say instead is that, we're this melting pot of different cultures, and we've adapted and accepted and maybe taken over other cultures' food and tried to make it our own in a slightly more rubbish way.
That's totally true. And you have some just much more drinks with it. So just to digest it better. So you just think like, yeah, the food is rubbish. So just drink enough, then the food is acceptable. No, I think the drinking is also something maybe, it's quite often you would hear if you would ask people here that they say, yeah, the British, they are in the streets and drinking excessively or coming from football games and beating up and drink and beer everywhere and so on. And I think, after also being there a few times, I think it's not completely wrong.
I think, honestly said, British culture has a problem with alcohol. And I think you don't realise that when you live there, because you can make your own choices about what you want to do. But when you've been away for a while and you see how other countries kind of deal with drinking or how much they consume alcohol with meals or without or on an evening out, you see it's just a very different attitude.
Yeah, I think with you have just loads of nice pubs. So you go there and it's not really very common, I think, to go there and just have a Coke or something. You just have a beer and you have all sorts of different beer. So yeah, that's, I think, one problem.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not very, I think when you're in a group of people, there's a lot of kind of peer pressure that everybody puts on each other, that it's kind of not very accepted to drink non-alcoholic drinks. People always want to ask if there's some kind of problem why you're doing that. But you should be able to without having to explain yourself. And that, I think, is a kind of issue.
Yeah, well, true.
But not for everyone.
Then what else can I say? I think when I think about British people as well in Switzerland, where I grew up in Adelboden, we have a nice skiing region I can very much recommend.
Me too.
And if you see someone with red or white face, depending on which hour, then you can be pretty sure it's British people. So in the morning they put loads of sun cream in the face, so quite white skin over the skin. And if they don't do it, they have a nice red face in the evenings. I think that's quite funny and sweet.
Oh, well, yeah, it's nice that you say that's sweet. Yeah, we don't really understand kind of sun cream and sun protection and so on. because, the sun comes so sporadically in England. When it's there, it's sun's out, guns out. That's our motto. Get outside and enjoy that sun because it might not come back.
Well, you explained me at one of the very first time we met that you know everything about sun cream. And yeah.
I'm not too big to admit that I didn't.
Yeah. Basically, we can stop here because I have nothing to add.
Good. Well, thanks very much. And I'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, that was great. I hope you enjoyed to hear a little bit what Swiss, or at least one Swiss, think about your country and the people living there.
I certainly did. And if there's anything you want to say about this, maybe you've got your own views about what you think about Britain or the British people, then head over to our website, swissandchips.com, and get in touch there.
Yeah, it would be really nice to hear what you think.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.